Welcome to Rise and Recap. Braveheart is a 1995 American epic historical war drama film directed and produced by Mel Gibson, who portrays Scottish warrior William Wallace in the First War of Scottish Independence against King Edward I of England. In the 13th century, after several years of political unrest, as the King of Scotland had died without a son, Scotland is invaded and conquered by King Edward I of England. The Scottish nobles lost easily as they could not unite against a common enemy. Young William Wallace witnesses the treachery of Longshanks when he killed all the Scottish nobles, including William's father and brother, in cold blood, after he invites them for a peace treaty. After his father and brother are killed by English soldiers, Wallace is taken in and raised by his uncle Argyle, who educates him in languages, swordsmanship, and philosophy, shaping him into a thoughtful and skilled man. Years later, a grown Wallace returns to his homeland, hoping to live a peaceful life. He reconnects with Muireann MacClana, a woman he loved as a boy, and they secretly marry to avoid the English law known as prima noctis, which allows English lords to sleep with a newlywed Scottish woman on her wedding night. But when English soldiers harass Muireann, Wallace intervenes violently. Muireann is later captured and publicly executed to set an example. Grief-stricken and enraged, Wallace leads a small group of villagers to storm the English garrison in revenge, killing the soldiers and the local English magistrate. Meanwhile, Longshanks has his son Edward marry the daughter of his rival, Princess Isabel, the King of France. Edward is indicated to be gay, and hence no sire is born into the family. Edward is not interested in the affairs of the state and sends Isabel to all meetings with Longshanks and his advisory council. William Wallace and his rebel army cleverly disguise themselves as English soldiers to infiltrate and attack a garrison. His men dress in English uniforms and armor, blending in to get close to a guarded English fort. Under the cover of deception, they enter the garrison without raising suspicion. This victory not only demoralizes the English, but also fuels Wallace's reputation as a fearless leader. Wallace is now compelled to rebel against the English, and as his legend spreads, hundreds of Scots from the surrounding clans join him. Stephen claims to be the King of Ireland, and saves Wallace from an assassination attempt of a fellow Scot. At the Battle of Stirling Bridge, Wallace leads the Scots to a stunning victory against the English, using strategy and surprise to overcome their superior numbers. The news of Wallace and his rebellion reaches Longshanks. Longshanks is to depart for France and leaves Edward in charge of dealing with Wallace and the Scots. Princess Isabel, who has never known love from Edward, is swayed by tales of Wallace's fight for his lost love. She hears that the English tried to trap him at Muireann's grave, but he fought through the trap and took her body to a secret place. After leading a surprise victory at the Battle of Stirling Bridge, Wallace's courage and leadership inspire the Scottish clans. He is knighted and given the title of Guardian of Scotland, acting in the name of the young King of Scots. Despite this honor, Wallace quickly becomes disillusioned with the nobles' political games and self-interest. He realizes many of them are more concerned with land and titles than with true freedom for Scotland. Wallace takes the fight directly to English soil. In a bold and unexpected move, he leads his army south and launches a surprise attack on the heavily fortified city of York. Wallace and his men storm the city with brutal efficiency, overwhelming the defenders and capturing it. Upon his return, Longshanks finds his son, Prince Edward, spending time with his male lover. Disgusted by his son's perceived weakness and by the influence his lover has over him, King Edward I coldly grabs the young man and throws him out of a castle window, killing him instantly. This shocking act demonstrates the king's brutal nature and his desire to assert dominance and control, both politically and personally. It also highlights the strained relationship between the tyrannical father and his emotionally fragile son. Longshanks sends the wife of his son Edward, the French Princess Isabel, to try to negotiate with Wallace. Longshanks was hoping that Wallace killed her, and the French king declares war on Wallace in revenge. Wallace refuses the bribe, a chest of gold and offer of titles and estates in exchange for withdrawing the attack, sent with Isabel by Longshanks, but after meeting him in person, Isabel becomes enamored with him. Meanwhile, Longshanks prepares an army to invade Scotland. Warned of the coming invasion by Isabel, Wallace implores the Scottish nobility, who are more concerned with their own welfare, that immediate action is needed to counter the threat and to take back the country. William Wallace seeks help from Robert the Bruce takes place after Wallace has become a symbol of Scottish resistance. Wallace hopes to unite the clans under a single banner to fight the English. He turns to Robert the Bruce, the son of a nobleman with a claim to the Scottish throne, believing Bruce can rally the support of the other Scottish nobles. Wallace passionately appeals to Bruce, urging him to lead the country with courage and honor. Bruce is clearly moved by Wallace's bravery and ideals. Leading the English army himself, Longshanks confronts the Scots at the Battle of Falkirk, where noblemen Lachlan and Mornay betray Wallace. The Scots lose the battle, and Wallace is wounded. As he charges toward the departing Longshanks on horseback, Wallace is intercepted by one of the king's lancers, who turns out to be Robert the Bruce. Remorseful, Bruce gets Wallace to safety before the English can capture him. Robert the Bruce walks through a devastated battlefield, surrounded by the bodies of fallen Scottish soldiers. Among the dead, he sees grieving wives and children mourning their loved ones. Overwhelmed by guilt and sorrow, Robert realizes the consequences of his betrayal of William Wallace. The sight of so much suffering forces him to confront the truth. Wallace kills Mornay and Lachlan for their betrayal. Robert the Bruce, intending to join Wallace and commit troops to the war, sets up a meeting with him in Edinburgh, where Robert's father has conspired with other nobles to capture and hand over Wallace to the English. Learning of his treachery, the Bruce disowns his father. Following a tryst with Wallace, Isabel exacts revenge on the now terminally ill Longshanks by telling him she is pregnant with another man's child, intent on ending Longshanks' line and ruling in his son's place. In London, Wallace is brought before an English magistrate, tried for high treason, and condemned to public torture and beheading. Even after being hanged and mutilated, Wallace refuses to submit to the king by begging for mercy. As cries for mercy come from the watching crowd, the magistrate offers him one final chance. Wallace instead shouts the word freedom. Just before the axe falls, Wallace sees a vision of Muron in the crowd smiling at him. In 1314 AD, years after Wallace's death, Robert the Bruce, now Scotland's king, leads a Scottish army before a ceremonial line of English troops on the fields of Bannockburn, where he is to formally accept English rule. As he begins to ride toward the English, the Bruce stops and turns back to his troops. Invoking Wallace's memory, he implores them to fight with him as they did with Wallace. He then leads his army into battle against the stunned English, winning the Scots their freedom. If you like this kind of content, just hit the like and subscribe button for more future videos.